Hi guys, welcome to my very first podcast here in Sweden. It's based around the consultancy market in Stockholm. I'm here joined by Mats Holmblad, the business owner of system development at Sopra Steria, and Stefan Näse, the senior developer of JavaScript here at Sopra Steria too. Welcome, Mats.
Thank you.
So today, obviously, I'm here to talk to you about the consultancy market in Stockholm. What I want to find out from yourself is what does Sopra Steria do to stand out from other consultancies, and why, obviously, people would want to join Sopra Steria compared to other consultancies in Stockholm.
I think Sopra Steria, here at Sopra Steria, we have a way of working with innovative and new ideas in an interesting way.
Okay.
We have a tagline that we call power sharing, which means we share our knowledge not only with ourselves, with our colleagues, we share it with our clients, we share it with society, even our competitors. We try to focus on business and focus on ideas that bring something back to society. A little bit for everything we do, to try to focus how can we make this world a little bit better.
Sure.
And also, I mean, if we're talking strictly business wise, we're not a standard consultancy company where we do everyone sits on a position somewhere out at the customer's office. We did that as well. But we have a lot of focus on owning our own business, owning our own projects, everything from system lifecycle management to projects. We sit here at our office in central Stockholm. We sit at our customer's office, and we try to do everything as agile teams, working together, working closely with our customers. That, I think, makes us stand out a bit.
Oh, good. So as you mentioned, obviously, you're out there to help people. So what kind of things does Sopra Steria do to obviously make developers help other people out there compared to other consultancies? So what really makes you stand out the most?
Like I said, power sharing is something we work a lot on. I mean, we have something we call communities, something we share our knowledge with inside the company. We're focusing everything from how can we work differently in our projects, how can we use modern technology in the best way, how can we, and we have something we call DigiLab, which is an innovation center that exists in each country, in each city. We have this in Sopra Steria, and we share this knowledge. Looking in, for instance, healthcare is a big issue at the moment, digital healthcare. What's happening in Norway, what's happening in Germany, what's happening in England. How can we take those experiences to the Swedish market and make it better? And the other way around, of course. So, yeah.
Oh, good. As I say, obviously, with regards to Sopra Steria itself, so where do you actually see Sopra Steria, say, in the next 5 years? So what can you actually really see coming out of Sopra Steria?
I see us continues our growth here in Sweden. We're expanding very rapidly the last couple of years. We're seeing new markets, and I think we'll have a positive growth the coming years. Talking technology, I mean, we're always big for the things I'm responsible for, system development. .NET, Java has been big platforms. JavaScript is coming around. We're also working with virtual reality, mixed reality, HoloLens, Python, whatever. Everything we're working on is getting bigger and bigger.
Yeah. Okay. So as you mentioned, obviously you're going through a big growth plan at the moment. Tell me, how much growth plans have you gone through sort of in recent years with Sopra Steria?
Comparing, I've been at the company here in Sweden for 12 years. When I started, we were about 250 people. Okay. And in my first 10 years here, we expanded about 100 people. So from 250 to 350. And these last 2 years, we're expanding more rapidly. We're growing from 350 to about 470.
Oh, wow.
So over 100 in 2 years.
So obviously you've gone through a big expansion over the recent years. Can you see that still continuing over the next couple of years too?
I think maybe not as rapidly as the last 2 years, but definitely will continue to grow.
And what would make you think that it might not continue to grow as quickly as it has done? What might be the difference?
It's also, I mean, growing that rapidly puts, should I say, not pressure, but it challenges the organization and our structure. And we made a bigger organization structure this fall to be able to handle this many people. And now we're set for the future, and I think it's looking good. But I think we also need to set our new organization structure to maybe take it a little bit easier this year, but still continue to grow. but maybe not as rapidly as the last 2 years.
Okay. And within obviously how many staff you've got at the moment, how many developers are there that actually are developers and work as consultants here at Sopra Steria currently?
For me, I'm responsible for 50 developers, but we have other developers that are focusing on platforms and different other things. And also, of course, we have not only an office here in Stockholm, we have in Göteborg, Gothenburg, we have in Malmö, in Östersund up north. So in all, I'd say maybe about closer to 150 developers.
Oh, wow. Okay. And what kind of assignments could you sort of see developers working on if they were to work for Sopra Steria?
Yeah. We have everything from projects that we're working with here in-house in our offices or sitting in our customer offices. We've been doing everything from a lot of healthcare and the public sector, but also we're working with unions, we're working with dental systems, we're working with hospital systems, so about giving a little bit back to society. I think we're trying to achieve making this a little bit better society step by step. But also, of course, we're working telecom and media is a big sector for us.
Okay.
A lot of the bigger telecom and media companies here we've been working with. And also, for instance, I mean, we have working with virtual reality, mixed reality. We have a project right now that we're working with Microsoft and Karolinska, which is the biggest hospital in Sweden. We're making a VR solution to help planning and performing better operations. So, yeah.
Okay. And obviously, talking to people that potentially may not be in Stockholm, what would you say would be the reason for people to want, because obviously I know that you're literally in the centre of Stockholm, you're right outside the Arlanda Express, so it's easy to get to, obviously, for people. But what stands out for you, do you think, from your personal overview, why people should work in Stockholm Central?
Yeah. Well, there are many reasons, of course. Stockholm is and have been for a long time on the forefront of IT development and innovative ideas. I think we have a culture here for experimenting and trying new ideas, which are attracting many entrepreneurs and IT people. Yeah. And I don't know if that goes back even to the dark ages when, living up north where it's cold and it's not, always that pleasant, I think it's been a driving force for us as a people to always, try, experiment new ideas. And also in Sweden, I mean, since education is basically free and the standard here for the level of education is high. So a lot of competent people. Yeah. And a lot of companies here are trying to attract people different ways. I mean, it's, I think they promote happy and work-life balance situations. I mean, a lot of people here, you have, like myself, have small children. Yeah. A lot of companies have understanding. You need to pick the kids up from kindergarten and so on. So they have respect for you, that you have a private life outside the company. Okay. So that's good. Yeah. And with Sopra Steria, do you have, because I know you mentioned about family life and things like that, do you have a lot of perks with the business that comes with sort of family life? You do. I mean, we try to be flexible here. I mean, a lot of people, maybe pick up the kids at 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock, and we try to experiment. Sometimes you have to work at home. Sometimes you don't work a full day. You work some parts at home and so on. And that doesn't just go for us. Most of our clients are very open to that idea as well. Okay. So it's important that you feel. Your work in life, private life, is in balance. It's balanced, yeah. So a lot of focus on that. That's good. No, that's really good to hear. I mean, obviously, with that in mind, so you mentioned your clientele and things. What would you say, because being obviously as a consultancy, you're working with a variety of different businesses. What would you say in 2020 are like the main industries that you think are going to be like the ones that people are going to be talking about the most? I think we talked a little bit about it, but the healthcare. I think it's going to be big. Or other industries that one way or another give something back to society. I mean, it's not only a driving force right now with the environmental movement and everything. I mean, in general, I think people like to see what we're doing give something back.
Yeah.
But there are also other industries, and we talk artificial intelligence, gaming, entertainment are getting bigger, growing rapidly. So I think that will be a big focus on 2020.
Oh, good. And finally, for yourself, just obviously from your point of view, what would you say would be the sort of the best thing about Sopra Steria and why people should obviously come to work for Sopra Steria?
Well, again, many things.
If you could literally put like if you had like a star point about Sopra Steria, what would you say it would be?
I think this is a place where you can, if you want to, you can achieve great things. If you want to take part, if you have a driving force in yourself, if you want to achieve something, it's open. I mean, I think our organization is very flat. If you want to be part of something, you want to be a driving force and everything. I think people here are very open to listening to your ideas, and willingness to try new ideas. So that's probably the best thing. And of course, I mean, we're working with interesting technologies. We're working with interesting clients. And that's also important.
Brilliant. No, thank you. Thank you very much. Right. Thank you for your time, Mats. It was a pleasure. So obviously we're going to be moving on now to Stefan, who's going to be talking all JavaScript related questions about Sopra Steria. Hi, continuing on, I'm here joined by Stefan Näse, who is the Senior Developer of JavaScript here at Sopra Steria. Welcome, Stefan.
Thank you.
Okay, Stefan, so I wanted to speak to you today. Obviously, I'm the front-end development consultant at Darwin, and obviously I'm everything Swedish related. So what I wanted to speak to yourself about today was where obviously the latest front-end trends and where we see obviously the JavaScript market going within 2020. So first things first is I know obviously the React JavaScript framework has been like the hottest framework for the last sort of 12 months.
Yep.
Where do you see obviously the JavaScript frameworks going across 2020 and what sort of new trends do you think are going to be coming out?
I think React is still going to be holding strong on the market for at least 1 or 2 years.
Okay.
The way I see it, it doesn't have any clear-cut competitors. Angular is the second largest one currently, but in general, people aren't as satisfied using it. I think people switch away from Angular more than they switch away from React.
Yeah.
Based on discussions with people and
Sure.
sort of stuff that I'm reading online and podcasts and things like that.
And as you mentioned, because I know Angular is obviously the oldest JavaScript framework. What is it? Because I know that some businesses still like to use Angular. Why do you think some companies still like to use Angular compared to a big percentage still obviously moving forward with React and they don't want to move forward with from Angular anymore?
It might be related to people sort of moving from the older versions of Angular and then just sort of they've just been upgrading and staying along for the whole Angular ride.
Sure.
But it might also be related to Angular being coupled with other technologies like using Ionic or sort of languages that are more commonly used with Angular.
Yeah. And I know obviously we mentioned about React being obviously the most common used JavaScript framework, but there's been quite a bit of talk about Vue.js and things like that, and companies obviously utilising that a bit more. Can you see Vue overtaking React, or can you see another JavaScript framework coming over to sort of take over React at all?
I don't really see Vue overtaking React in terms of... I don't really see the big advantage compared to React. It's I haven't used Vue that much in all honesty, so it's I don't have strong opinions about it. But from what I know about it and what I've used it, it's sort of like it has some parts of Angular, but it's kind of like React in other ways. And the big thing that I kind of felt about it when I used it was that it was easier to get going. And easier to sort of put in a modular way into your project, whereas React is more of a it's a bigger thing to get started, but it has all the power of Facebook and stuff like that. So there's a lot more frameworks and things like that for React.
Okay.
I kind of think of Vue as the little brother to React in a way.
And do you think that'll always be the case? It'll never surpass it. It'll always just be in sort of React's shadow. so to speak.
It's never say never, but I mean,
that's the way you can see it. No, that's fair enough. Yeah. Obviously, working as a front-end developer at Sopra Steria, what do you find is the most interesting things about working as obviously with JavaScript at Sopra Steria, and what kind of different assignments you do and things like that kind of are really interesting and appealing for yourself as a developer here?
I think for me personally, it's been the whole JavaScript, the trend in which we're heading towards. It's sort of moving all the way to full stack basically, and I'm coming from a Java background and a Python background, so it's sort of doing full stack is a big plus for me.
Yeah.
And the whole revolution with serverless coming up and Next and sort of server side rendering stuff and GraphQL, and next gen DevOps sort of where you do more stuff in the front end. It's a really interesting time for front end development, I'd say, in general.
Great. And you continuing on from obviously your last answer, you mentioned obviously you started off with Java and Python and things like that. So what was it about front end that made you want to become full stack? What really sort of made you interested in the front end market to go from being a back end Java developer into full stack using front end?
Kind of, there was like a shift in paradigm, I think, like at some point where back end was sort of it got a bit more settled and the complexity moved towards front end and at that point I kind of switched over to front end and when containers came around, I think I used like Kubernetes around 2015 and then I started doing Node a lot in the back end as well, so it's kind of they went hand in hand, going over to doing more front end stuff with Node coming along.
And obviously with regards to Node, as I was just going to mention, do you do a lot of Node work here at Sopra? Is the full stack a lot of Node with sort of React, or how does the full stack sort of say assignments here at Sopra Steria work?
Yeah, I think a very common setup is you have people using Node and React.
Yeah.
Or, I mean, customers using Node and React, and then they have like a larger backend language, either Java or C# typically. So they have sort of a mixed stack where you come in and do the front end bit and maybe some Node, and then you can do Java and C# as well if you're up to it and the customer wants you.
No, that's good. I mean, with obviously the front end market at the moment, I know that Sweden obviously is the second biggest tech hub in the world, obviously behind Silicon Valley. Obviously you've got companies like Apple there, but that in itself is going to attract a lot of front end developers to want to work in Stockholm. I mean, can you see other companies in Stockholm capitalizing on that? So like a lot more startups like coming out of the woodwork that you can see a lot more front end opportunities coming from?
Definitely, and I think the startups in particular are those wanting to have the sort of the front end focused full stack engineers. Like they do Node and they do typically React.
Yeah.
So I guess for that kind of profiles, Stockholm and Sweden is particularly interesting, since there's a lot of startups being spawned here.
And obviously with obviously the startup situation in Stockholm at the moment, obviously from you, obviously I know we spoke to Mats about the different industries that are coming through. Where do you see the actual industries going this year in 2020 with regards to front end? What different industries could consultants want to work within across this 2020? Because I know Mats mentioned the healthcare sector. Do you see the same, or do you see anything differently?
I think they're kind of moving. Most sectors are moving in the same direction, but the pace might differ a bit. So I think like telecom and the private sector maybe they're a bit like a step ahead in general. So I mean both are interesting in a way, but I think most industries are moving kind of the same way, but at a different pace. Sorry, that was
no, it's fine.
Maybe a weird answer, but
And also, so obviously working as a consultant yourself, what do you think is the difference between working as for a consultancy compared to working for a product business directly? So obviously you're working here as a consultant yourself. What made you want to do that compared to working for a product company?
I had been working for a product company prior to starting to work my...
And what made you change?
I mean, the recruiting was one part of it, obviously, but in the end, I was choosing between consultancies and product development, and just doing consulting felt like the right choice at the time. And looking back at it, I don't regret it. It feels like working as a consultant for 8-9 years now. It's enabled me to get like a lot of know-how from a lot of different company cultures and a lot of different areas of technology. So I mean, I started focusing on front end at 2015, and prior to that, I've done a lot of Python, I've done a lot of Java and other stuff as well. So I think it's career-wise, it's benefited me a lot to doing sort of consultant stuff. If I were to have been doing product development for 8 years now in the same company, I would assume I wouldn't have the same like versatile CV basically that I have now.
So would you say the main thing about working for a consultancy compared to directly for a product company is the fact that you get the chance to work on different projects, different assignments for different customers? Would you say that's the best thing about consultancy?
Yeah, for me, definitely.
Yeah. And is it because you get to work on different tech stacks, or is it because of the actual assignment? I mean, what is it that really ticks it for yourself? Because ultimately, speaking to certain sort of candidates that obviously I will be trying to get to come to Sopra Steria, it's based about trying to make them not obviously only want to work for a product company and see the benefits of a consultancy. So what would you say is the biggest benefit of a consultancy compared to just working for a product company direct?
The biggest benefit for me is just meeting a lot of new people and working with a lot of new people and meeting skillful people and learning off of them and just the different companies that I've been out to and the company cultures that you've seen. It's perspective wise. I mean, I worked with like 15 projects in my last 9 years or something like that. Okay. So I've seen a lot of companies and I've worked with a lot of people and with a lot of tech as well. So I think if you're sort of set for one tech stack or something like that, you can come to a consultancy and sort of. But you might be working in-house a lot, and you might be working at like there's a lot of specific work. But I've for instance C# and Java. But I've sort of my approach has been to sort of take every opportunity that has come along. And if there's a new assignment, do you want to go here? Do you want to work with this tech? Sure, definitely. And it's always been cool to sort of just meet new people and see new company culture
so as a senior developer here at Sopra Steria, what do you think, because obviously you're part of Matt's team, so from your overview, what do you feel like is the most beneficial? Someone that has the tech ability to come into Sopra Steria, or someone that may potentially not have the tech ability but has the cultural fit that you can actually help and train? What one do you think is more beneficial for Sopra Steria?
This is easy for me. It's always cultural fit in my point of view, because you can. It's easier to make up for a lack of know-how than to make up for sort of a bad attitude. Yeah. And if you don't have like a good attitude, it might be disruptive to teams and things like that. So you think that having someone that potentially may not have as much skill set as a really senior person,
but they had the best cultural fit, would be better for Sopra Steria than someone that has all the tech ability in the world but wasn't a good cultural fit. You'd always go cultural fit.
Yeah.
See, that's good, because a lot of candidates would prefer that, because ultimately it opens up more avenues for other developers out there, because it shows that Sopra Steria isn't just about the experience that you have, that you can actually nurture them into the developer that you need to be, but ultimately that you do fit them as a business. So that's really good to hear. But obviously, finally, just moving on, from your overview, I mean, obviously you've been here for quite some time now too. What would you say is obviously the best thing about being for sort of working for Sopra Steria, and what do you really think people can gain from working it? People are definitely the best thing from my point of view. And it's sort of, it builds on the last question that you have, that, you know, if you come in here and you start working with something, or you want to work with some specific tech or something like that, then it's easy to get sort of guidance and someone to help you along the way. So it's a very, as Mats said, the whole power of sharing thing, it's a very open atmosphere, and people are very forthcoming and helpful when it comes to, you know, sort of mentoring you or guiding you along the way, I guess. Brilliant. No, fantastic. Thank you very much. Okay, that's it all. Thank you for your time, Stefan. It's a pleasure. So that's it, guys. That's the very first episode here in Stockholm with Sopra Steria. Please stay tuned and keep watching.